In the last few years, I've thought a lot about my wardrobe lately, asking myself questions like, what does this outfit say about me? Do people take me seriously when I wear this? Or, this is cute, but is it comfortable? We all wear clothes with a purpose, whether to show a certain aesthetic, indicate status, to get down and dirty, or to feel sexy, powerful, and seen. This is the Zesty Podcast. I'm your host, Malik Anderson, aka Taka. In this episode, we'll talk about personal style, taste, and self-expression, but also how our decisions as consumers have ripple effects on the environment. This conversation is the focus of Lakyn Carlton, who goes by the Ethical Stylist. After losing her entire wardrobe while moving to Los Angeles in 2015, she decided to restock her closet one piece at a time. And after doing away with fast fashion, she has been teaching others how to follow suit. She has a business where she serves clients' needs, helping them figure out how to sustainably build their wardrobe. A newsletter called True Style, and appeared in Time, The Washington Post, Cosmopolitan, Harper's Bazaar to talk fashion. So let's lock in and see what she has to say. Lakin, welcome to the Zesty Podcast. We're so glad to have you here as our inaugural guest. This has been a long time coming. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me. And thank you for that intro. I'm like, oh yeah, I do all that.
I mean,
Yes,
sometimes we have to
sometimes.
remind ourselves, we have to celebrate.
Yeah, sometimes you kind of forget. It's like, okay, okay, I am.
Well, I want to go back to that moment because that story, I mean, some people can relate to that. I've definitely had that happen to me once, where I lost my entire wardrobe. And I want to go back to that moment when you realize like everything was gone. How did you react?
Well, I did cry. Well, okay, so I was raised by a Black mother. So first, I called every phone number available to me. I shipped it FedEx. I was like, let's call customer service. Let's call um whoever else. Who is the president of FedEx? Connect me with Mr. X. Like I need to get somebody on the line to tell me where is my stuff. Because sometimes you'll have a package say it's delivered and it'll come a few days later. And so I gave it a minute and then I cried. And I just like cried my eyes out because when you're packing to move, and that was my second cross country move. When you pack that kind of like little, I'm gonna live out of my suitcase for like a week, it's not really like anything. Like I didn't have a job, so my clothes were like not, it was like going out clothes and hanging around the house clothes. I didn't really have anything.
So you were kind of limited in a
Yeah, I was
sense.
just 100% lost. It was just, I had spent so much time and it was such a big part of my identity. It still is, but my clothes were like so my everything. It was all I had. It was all I moved to LA with, or that I was planning to move to LA with. And, so it was a tough first week where I was like, okay, are we sure? Are you sure? Are you for real? Is it really? Okay, it's gone. Okay.
And then how long did it take you to replace all of those clothes?
Honestly, even now, I do not have the same size wardrobe. It's been 10 years. Obviously, I've been a lot more like thoughtful about it and making do with less. And that has been a very helpful part of it. But I don't think if I needed to like if I needed to pack everything into boxes right now, I don't think I would have the same boxes full.
Well, you
So
did sort of have that, sort of what, like a come to Jesus moment where you were just over
I was
like
like,
fast
okay,
fashion.
because and I moved right to Hollywood, like every 22-year-old who's moving to LA for the first time. I moved right to Hollywood. So I went down to Hollywood and Highland a few times, went to the H&M, the Zara, was there Forever 21 there? I don't know. But
There probably was. They were everywhere.
right. And all these other like nameless stores. And I'm buying this stuff and I'm like, but like the stuff I had before was also fast fashion, but like I loved the store Akira in Chicago. I even worked there for a bit. but it was like, okay, I know everybody here. We're like trying to, like, even then it was a little more of a thoughtful process, even though it was fast fashion, even though I had so much. So just trying to grab everything that I could and spend as little as possible and as much as possible got like really old really fast. I was like, this stuff kind of sucks. Like, why am I? It was on clearance for a reason, girl. No, I went to fashion. Well, I went to fashion community college. I went to that's still fashion school, but I went for like a semester. But I remember my teacher going on this long rant about H&M. He was like, I went into H&M, my pattern making teacher. He's like, I'm looking at this. I'm like, what? What are these seams? What are these hems? We're all sitting there like, yeah, yeah, mm-hmm.
Everybody in their
Cool.
H&M outfits.
That's so true. You're so right. It's trash. Cut this tag off for me, girl.
And it doesn't last.
At all.
So, tell us about the process of like moving to a more, I mean, I guess, an authentic wardrobe or what felt, you know, authentic to you.
So, and honestly, you don't do this once in life, right? You don't only, I feel like I've only met a few people, a few clients, anybody who just has known from the start like how to dress like them. I feel like it's constantly a process. So I've done it even in the past 10 years since losing my wardrobe. I've done it a couple of times. I'm kind of in the process of it now. But the main thing, and I think it's the thing that nobody ever wants to hear, is you're looking at your wardrobe or your empty closet, as the case may be, and you're thinking, I need a change. I need something. It's not working. It's not clicking. I'm not feeling like myself. And everybody says, you know what, let me open up, you know, the Shein. Let me open up the Shein app, or let me open up whatever. Let me go shop. Let me go to the mall. And that's like the last thing you should do. There should be no shopping until you, one, know what you're shopping for, but also know how you got where you are. We all have
Hmm.
habits to fix. We all have things that we kind of do or maybe buy a lot of that maybe aren't right. It's like, well, why am I buying that? Um, for women, especially, a lot of the time it'll be, well, I bought this because it was what fits, or it was what's trendy for anybody really, or it's somebody told me some years ago I can't wear this, so I'm buying this. And it's like, okay, but like, is that like, are you really feeling that? Like, do you really like that? Are you enjoying this? Obviously not, because you're like, well, I need to revamp. But it's like, okay, well, what are we revamping though? I think you don't have to sit down and write out a full roadmap to your perfect wardrobe. You could, but you don't have to. But at least taking the time to say, okay, what needs to change? Why am I shopping? How do I shop? And why am I shopping like this? And how can I fix it? That's that's like first. And then when you've started to kind of understand yourself a little more, that's when things maybe start clicking a little bit more to actually make purchases that are gonna fit the goal, do what it do.
Yeah. You bring up an interesting point because, a lot of people talk about personal style, but we rarely ever describe what that means, and what that looks like for us.
Mhm.
However, you did it right. You've written about this multiple times, but you talked about, in a recent Substack article, you define personal style and self-expression and personal taste. And for people who might be listening, could you define what personal style is exactly? Like, what does that term mean? Because we kind of use it for everything.
Yeah, we do. And it's become a very hot topic, on Instagram, Reels, and TikTok. Everybody's like, here's how to find your personal style. Here's how to define your personal style. Um, and I feel like there is not a disconnect, but I don't think there's enough conversation around all the things that personal style can be. So, to simplify, in the simplest terms, personal style for me is how you want to dress. Expression is how you actually dress. You're actually expressing, sometimes, though, that expression, how you're actually dressing, is not aligned with how you would dress in the most ideal world. And that's because we don't live in the most ideal world. There's people whose style may not be tied into, not necessarily who they are or who they want to present to the world, but how they feel safest, how they feel most protected. Um, and that, that's sad. But this idea that like your personal style is this most unique and most you know coherent and cohesive idea of dressing exactly like yourself, that's not always necessarily true. I do think it should absolutely be authentic to you and your needs, but everybody has different needs. Does that
You
make sense?
said, just because you like something doesn't mean you would actually wear it.
Right.
Why wouldn't someone wear something that they might actually really like or give it a try? Like what are some reasons? Because I think in my head I could think of a few. Um, but what are factors that like really prevent us from, I guess, like being that authentic?
Well, it's not always a matter of authenticity. It can be a matter of accessibility. It can be a matter of practicality. I would love to wear a fur coat every day, but I live in Los Angeles. That doesn't make any sense. I would be melted on the sidewalk. It could
But you
be
would slay though. You would you would walk
and
around
as
and people
I'm
would be like,
as I'm
it's
pouring
too hot
buckets
for
of
that.
sweat. When I pass out from heat stroke, it's gonna be the most fabulous laid out on the ground. But but maybe it just doesn't work for your life, or even just the image that you want, or the things that you maybe don't, the parts of your body that you may not want to draw attention to, or the things that you want to highlight, you know because either way, maybe somebody who likes dressing modestly would love to wear, a backless, a bodysuit and some shorts, but it's like, well, but that's not really like me. I like it. I would love to wear it and see what it's like, but I like it on other people. Or on the opposite end, somebody who prefers to show off a lot of skin might be like, I would love to wear, a long skirt and a long, but it's just, it wouldn't really feel right. Like, it's beautiful and I love it. I respect it. It's not really my vibe.
And that's okay though. I mean, I
Right.
think
I
it's
think it's good to
okay
get a
to
little rigid with
yeah,
your vibe. I feel like
yeah.
especially now we're so encouraged to be not experimental, but like you gotta be a little more, it's like we're all wearing this, so you should be wearing this. Like you should open up your mind. It's, girl, if you want to wear the same thing every day, if you want to wear a uniform, people talk about Anna Wintour, and I will go to the ends of the earth to defend that woman and her floral dresses and her trench coats. Okay? Because who
Every
you
time. Back in the day, there were all these different like, subcultures and like you were an
Mhm.
emo kid. You had
Right.
your little outfit, you wore it was a lot of black, but it was like,
A lot of
those
black.
chain wallets back
But
in
then,
school.
you had the other kids who were emo, but it's like, actually, we're going to be a little different. We're going to wear the black, but then we're going to like add a
Mhm.
little neon. We're seeing.
Yes.
We don't listen to the cry boo-hoo music. We listen to the headbanging and crying but screaming music. We're not crying, we're screaming. We're screamo. I was a scene kid.
I I was a maggot. I was a Slipknot fan for a little while. I'm not even gonna lie. I did have a phase. I'm from Milwaukee originally. So like
Mhm.
in Milwaukee, we had this place called Silver Star. Everybody was wearing these like elaborate like hoodies, zip up hoodies with like designs on them and then like put over jackets on them. It was
Okay.
and then like baggy jeans. I think this was like right before like skinny jeans took off.
Mhm.
And then like then people started wearing like skinny jeans.
That's so funny. I went to an arts high school, so we were a little different, but I am from Texas. And it was all you went to your Hot Topic and you got your band hoodie, or you were like me and you went to Old Navy and they had hoodies in every color and
Yes.
for $6 and you would get whatever color you wanted. Most people have their little purple hoodie. I don't know why purple was such a popular hoodie color, but yeah, I was neon yellow.
Yeah. I had a neon green. I had Hollister hoodies in every color. It would be like
Not
Hollister,
Holly.
it'd be like Hollister blue, Hollister yellow, Hollister green.
We had like a couple kids that dressed like that, and they were the weird ones at my school.
I
Oh,
we had a Hollister moment in Milwaukee. We're a little, I mean, I won't say like we were delayed in fashion, but it wasn't like big city fashion trends. Everybody did
right.
their own thing. I mean, it's different today, like there's social media and everything. But back then, like it was still like the early days of social media, so like
Mhm.
there was still like this regional look like that we
Yeah.
had.
And
Like,
that's what's why
yeah.
we've like lost that. I remember, in Dallas, we had I went from before going to an art school, which was very diverse. I was at like a predominantly Black middle school. So, and in a Black neighborhood, and I really only knew Black people. So, everybody I knew was wearing the tall tees and the long shorts and forces, or I remember Fila's got really
We had
popular.
that too. Yep.
The
I
ones that
remember
are like
that.
all one color. Everybody loved those. I never had any of that because I was poor. They didn't sell that. They didn't sell it at Dress for Less.
My parents were like a little restrictive on my fashion, so like they wanted me to be a very preppy kid, and so they would make me get like there was a moment of my life where like I thought I was being unique, so I would wear fedoras and like the knitted the
That's a
vest.
fair
I
thing.
was wearing fedoras and vests with like cargo pants, walking around, and I'm like, I'm unique. Like I'm
Okay, but
really
that is very Avril Lavigne of you.
it, it was. That's
That's
probably
very
who I
so
got.
much for my happy ending. So complicated.
So in
What?
today's fashion landscape, where you have like, I mean, we're surrounded by fast fashion. We have brick and mortar retailers like, I mean, Forever 21 is still hanging on for dear life, and there's H&M and Shein and Fashion Nova. Um, eh, these places, as we know, have like damaging effects to the environment. Like, and a lot of people probably don't think about it all the time and probably think about the waste, but what are the unintended consequences of purchasing clothes at places like these where that people may not even register or may not even come to mind?
I think one thing that people don't realize is the way that fast fashion, especially ultra fast fashion like Shein and all of them, has changed our psychology. Like it's not just that they're selling cheap clothes, it's that they are dragging down the floor on what clothes cost. And to get the cost of clothes down, besides just exploiting labor, which they do, you've got to cut corners. So when you go to someplace that's supposed to be a little nicer, like the Gap, and you're like, well, I want something better quality. It's like, but that quality costs more. We don't want to pay more. We want to go, everybody talks about wanting like the natural fibers and everything better now, but it's like, okay, but you still only want to spend like $30 on a dress. And that's not going to work. The fabric costs more, the labor costs more, those details that you want cost more. So by kind of getting so used to this idea of getting whatever we want for $5, $10. These other these bigger brands, they have to keep up. They have to compete. Nobody, it's not, well, not nobody, but for the most mainstream brands that are catering to millions and millions of people and making millions and millions of garments a year, people want it cheap and they want it fast. They want more styles. They want, used to be you would go into the store and the same stuff would be there for months because that was the time I needed to save up for it or, pay off the layaway. But now you go to the store and it's completely different the next week. Everything's new because we have just the way that we shop and the way that we even approach clothes has changed because it's sped up so much.
Eh, That's interesting that you talked about like, layaway, because I remember going to the store with my mom and it was something she really liked, where we go to whether it be TJ Maxx or we would go to like department stores like Coach, layaway was a thing, that people did and that you don't really see it anymore. If anything, like the
Oh,
new layaway is like Affirm, but people are
and
spending
more.
using Affirm to buy fast fashion or like
Did you
stuff that get on Amazon.
It's like you really have, 4 payments of $10. I don't I feel like you could have saved that $40 and bought something maybe a little better. I don't know. Um, no, I growing up, like we were broke. So for my back to school clothes, we would go to like TJ Maxx, Ross Dress for Less, Bourbons, and get everything on no tax day. But then I'd have to wait. We would put it in layaway because, no tax now, so it's a little less. And then I didn't get my new clothes for school until like October, but everybody else had run out of outfits. And now I had new stuff. So who really won? But it's very much it's very much patience. Patience was, I think, to go back to what I just said, we don't have patience anymore. It's like I see it, I want it. You're right now. And you can probably get some version of it right now. And that's just changing so much. It's changing our behavior, and then corporations are responding to our behavior, and then we respond to that. It's just this endless kind of feedback loop of right now, cheap. Ugh.
And I mean, none of us have all the answers. I mean, of course not. This is a complex issue. But for millennials and Gen Z who had vivid memories of shopping at stores like these as teenagers or young adults, um, where are some other places that this crowd of folks that is looking to maybe, transition into a new phase of their life, um, who want to dress more authentically, where should they look first?
I think we should start with research. Come on, mama, let's research.
I love
So
how that's become a
there,
thing that everybody just knows. Like
she really said that. That's why.
my
Um,
boyfriend says that to me like all the time when I'm like asking what, come on, mama, let's do some research. And I'm like, okay.
okay. Yeah, I could have. Um, no, I think starting with, because listen, there's no Shein for sustainable clothes. I feel like people think about alternatives and they want something like the H&M and the Zara that's meant to, one, be trendy, and two, appeal to literally anybody, everybody. They have no real kind of visual identity. It's just churning out as many styles as possible, and that's just not realistic, guys.
And I notice a lot of
So
those companies that present themselves that way is like it's all like beige, like earth tones, like not
hello,
not a lot of color. It's just like,
boring.
yeah.
It's the loss of color is a whole other thing. I'm wearing, by the way, I know this is not video, so I'm wearing like a chartreuse lime green top right now. So don't, and it's linen, by the way. But do research on sustainable brands. Figure out your what you're looking for, not just like, a lot of people just go to the store and expect the store to tell them what they want to buy. What do you like wearing? Look for the brands, look for the designers, look for the places to get that aesthetic that you actually like and want to wear. A great place to start is Google, but don't just, Google, sustainable brand. I mean, you can, it'll get you somewhere. But say you're like me and I want to wear maxi skirts. I want to wear slip dresses. I want to wear whatever. Google that, add sustainable, and then see what comes up. Maybe you'll get some crap. Maybe you'll get you'll get some recommendations. You'll get some ideas of what's out there, some ideas of maybe what things cost when they're made more sustainably. And also try secondhand gem.app. I press it, I push it all the time. Fantastic for finding maybe the higher end brands that you like. But just start with figuring out what's out there before you start. Like I said, slow down, don't shop yet, and find out who's making things well, beautifully, that you can actually, where you can find, you know, your style, your vibe. Because sustainable brands are for the most part, going to have a niche. And I don't mean like Everlane or Reformation. They're not actually sustainable. Sorry. I mean the smaller brands, the super tiny, maybe making like 500 pieces in each style brands. Um, but yeah, start your research, mama. Do
It all goes back to
plan.
research.
It really does. It always goes back to slowing down and understanding. And I know that we kind of hate the idea of um maybe being a little more thoughtful, maybe, waiting a little bit, being a little more patient. But if you are truly invested in, shopping and just living a more sustainable life, you're gonna have to get used to that.
And I have noticed you've used that term slow fashion as opposed to fast fashion. And in an Instagram post last year, you said you decided to stop telling people not to shop fast fashion, but not necessarily because like it's not a bad thing, but it just didn't work as a sustainable education approach. And I wanted to know, like, what was tell me about the decision to do that, and like, how has shifting your teaching methods like helped you reach people?
I think people obviously hate being preached at, for one. It's been, I've only started really having these conversations online maybe about 5, 6 years ago. And that entire time, there's always going to be people that are new to the idea, but we've been having kind of the same part of the conversation for a really long time. Like, fast fashion bad. And it's like, they get it. They know. Yeah. And it's always going to be I can't afford anything else. Who else has, what I want? How am I going to get alternative clothes otherwise, which is wild. But I still very much laugh at that. That was in a Twitter exchange that I had a few years ago. But it's it's not it's not enough to just be like, don't do this. And it's not even enough now to be like, why shouldn't you do this? Because it's always going to be the same response. And it's always going to be, well, where should I shop? So instead of that, I have shifted, as you've heard me say a million times now, stop shopping, girl. Like, do you need to shop? What you actually need, like right now, tell me right now, open up whatever site you shop on, apps you shop on, how much of that stuff in your cart do you actually need? And be honest, because we can't go anywhere if you're not going to be honest with me.
And some of us, have a hard time doing that. Like,
Very hard time. Yeah,
to
I need,
justify any purchase. Like,
like,
maybe I do need this. Like,
I wanted my little
in a
treat, my
thousandth
little
color.
treat. Like, Do you though? Like, are you butt naked right now? You have nothing to wear, but you have a couple extra days for shipping, I guess. You're like, I need an outfit for Wednesday. I don't have any. No, like nobody is, I don't want to say nobody, but the people that are in such dire positions are not the ones that are doing these Shein hauls and shopping it. They're not, that's not them. And I don't mean, oh, I have a job interview and I don't have, okay, that fine. Most of y'all are good right now. So let's talk about your habits. Let's talk about why your wardrobe's not working for you. Because a lot of people who also have wardrobes full of fast fashion, they don't like it. They don't, there's plenty of things they don't love. There's money that they've wasted. There's, you know, quality issues. There's all of these things. But we got to be honest. And to be honest, we got to stop and we got to think. And then as you kind of try to help people, it doesn't have to be like this. You don't, even when it comes to size inclusivity or things like that, you don't have to just wear, cheap stuff. That's not your only option. Why don't we walk with me? Let's figure out what you can do specifically, because the whole one size fits all advice is just not, and then the scolding, or it's also not working.
Thank you. And I have one question that I've been meaning to ask you. I mean, and then it's actually two questions that I'm gonna push into one, because we got to relate it back to the podcast.
Okay.
Um, what is a piece in your wardrobe that makes you feel your zestiest?
Ooh, this is so funny because I just got approached to do like a Substack article on the same topic. It's this silk black kind of sheer blouse. I forget who it's by. It's vintage, but it's got gold studs. It's got gold studs on the collar. It's got gold studs on the pockets. There's pockets. There's four big pockets and they all have gold studs. And it's
Wow.
just this like really like nice lightweight fabric, these heavy ass studs.
I mean, but it feels bold.
It's
You know,
just so, and
with
I wore it out the
personality.
night, and everybody's like, "Oh my God!" Like that. Also, like what I was wearing it with, I was wearing it with a gold skirt because I'm a little over the top sometimes. It was just
Sometimes we
like,
have to be over the top.
all the time,
Uh,
honey. I'm only wearing one necklace right now, but when I'm leave, I'm gonna wear like four more. I like to be a little much sometimes, all the time.
what did they used to say? You say that I'm too much. Maybe you're not enough.
Maybe you're not enough. Maybe you're scared to try. Maybe you're scared to, because I gotta relate it back to people who who maybe want to change their style life. Um, no, a lot of people are scared to be too much and be too over the top, and so they kind of project that onto the people that are. And you don't have to do that. You can come over here. You can join me. You can get zesty as well. Did
Well,
I do
thank you.
it?
I really love that you've embraced the essence
Feel
of
zesty.
this show, which is, it's to be your zestiest, to be the boldest person you can be, your most authentic self. And I mean, it's been a pleasure speaking with you because you represent exactly what we're trying to do with this season and this show, and telling people, it's okay to be you. It's okay to take some time to discover who that is.
And it
So
is.
I
And
want to
don't
thank you.
also, I was going to add, don't be ashamed of all the time that you feel like you lost not being you. So
Exactly.
important. Give yourself permission to start today being your best. And don't worry about, we all have our reasons for things not necessarily being the way we want them to be, but don't worry about that. Put on the studded silk blouse and go out and zest it up.
Yeah, I'm wearing flowers right now. Like I
And I
love
love these
florals. I
flowers.
love flowers. I love gold chains. I love dangly earrings, and that's never going to change, you know? I mean,
Exactly. And it shouldn't. You could put on a few more chains.
I just might.
Straight,
Honestly,
straight from
I
Coco.
don't, you know that rule where you take off one piece before you leave? I'm like, I
Absolutely
want to keep
not.
them all on.
And I say it all the time because Coco Chanel said that, and she was a Nazi. And you know who we don't listen to?
We don't listen to Nazis.
Put another
We don't
thing on.
believe in Nazis.
Put another thing on.
They
And
need to go
another
back
one.
to where they came from.
And hello.